Welcome back to Frederick Advice Givers, episode 170. I am Eric Verdi, and to my left here is a dear friend of mine, Carmella Smith. I have been trying to get her on here for probably about a year and a half now. So she has the Own It company, and we are in downtown Brunswick today. It's a collaborative workspace that you've been working on 2, 3, how long have you been working on this?
About a year, actually. I mean, there was a whole lot of research and stuff prior to the actual like implementing,
Right.
But we've been in the space, renovating and doing stuff for about a year.
Okay, because I know we've talked about it
Yeah.
for much longer than a year.
Yes.
Awesome, so I'm proud of you. Your grand opening is February 4th?
9th.
February 9th.
At 1 p.m.
Which is, I think, the week that this is going to go live, so that will be perfect.
Yes, and that is actually also Small City Saturday. It's the first one in Brunswick.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. So like I said, my friend Carmella Smith here. So for those of you that don't know Carmella, give us your backstory, your origin story. Where did you grow up? What do you enjoy doing in your spare time? Like, give who you are as a person.
Okay, so I grew up in Germantown before it was all congested. I grew up next to a cornfield that is not there anymore. Moved to Frederick because I went to St. John's Prospect Hall.
Catholic school?
Yes.
Okay.
And honestly, I don't have free time, so I don't get to do stuff in my free time. I have 4 kids.
And what are their ages?
11, 7, 5, and 2.
11, 7, 5, and 2.
All boys.
Are you done?
Oh,
Is there going to be a fifth?
No, there will be no fifth.
No
We're
five?
fixed. There will be no more.
No more?
No more children.
Okay.
We're good.
Wow. So does the oldest one help out?
No.
No.
Sometimes.
It's all on you and your husband?
No, it's just sometimes his helpfulness isn't actually helpful. So.
Right on.
But that's because all of my children are opinionated like me, and so they don't really want help.
You're opinionated. I did not know that, Carmella. So where do you live?
We live 1 block outside of Brunswick, here in Knoxville.
Okay. And how long have you been in the Brunswick area?
Coming on 9 years.
Okay. And where's your husband from?
He is from Walkersville.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's a Walkersville dude.
He is a Walkersville dude.
Okay. So then you guys just decided that you wanted to raise your family in the lovely county of Frederick.
Yes.
But then also Brunswick.
Yeah. Brunswick, I ended up here because when I bought my first house, I was a single mom.
Okay.
And so it was either out here or some unsavory areas in Frederick.
Okay.
In terms of affordability.
Right. So how did you get the idea for a collaborative workspace?
I want to say that I started working with it, the idea of something like 4 years ago.
Okay.
Mostly just from going to the different council meetings, different economic development meetings here, reading through the threads on Facebook, and everybody just always wants to complain about something, but nobody's actually doing something.
Right.
And I have it highlighted in my notebook where I just wrote down to do something. And I didn't necessarily know what that was back then. But then I got the idea that I wanted my own office down here. And that kind of just evolved into, from how can I have an office downtown that I don't have to pay for,
right,
into something that's a very different business concept than that.
So where are we sitting? What did this building used to be?
We are in the Horan building, and it was the drugstore and like soda shop.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yep.
Cool, and that's what all these cabinets and everything back here are?
It is, and there's actually, if you look, you can't see it on camera, but there's a hole right there in the mirror.
Okay.
Because that's where he would put the medications together, and when he was working back there, he couldn't see who was coming through the door. So he cut a hole in it.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah. So this is my second experience in a couple of weeks in a co-work space. So
Okay.
I was, co-work, collaborative workspace, whatever you want to call it. It's one and the same, right, basically?
Yeah, every business model's slightly different.
Okay.
Especially when it's a rural workspace, because you just have to be pretty fluid.
So I was at the co-work in downtown Frederick interviewing Teddy Galloway.
Okay.
And that was, was a unique space, and you walk in and you see like the 40 people that are members there.
Yep.
That was kind of cool. So is that the same model that you have, that you're looking for other small business owners and entrepreneurs
Yes.
to come in and share space here? Is that how
Yes,
this works?
so I actually was a member at Cowork Frederick
Okay.
probably 3 or 4 years ago, and I enjoyed my time there, but I don't have a need to drive to Frederick every day.
Right.
So it just wasn't really realistic for me. Our focus is definitely other small business and service-based businesses, but we're actually hoping to even collaborate with the Brunswick Main Street, GBAC, which is the chamber here, and EDC, to create sort of a hub where things can grow out of that will actually have an economic development on downtown.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
So Carmella, let's take this back to a personal level now.
Okay, yay.
What's the last purchase that you splurged on for yourself or your family? And I know you're a very frugal person, so.
Yes, I am. And I really I have no idea. I think it's when I bought my husband clothes for work, and I spent like $600.
$600.
He got a new job.
Okay.
And he needed different attire. So I got him like all new clothes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you.
So
that's a great wife. That's a great wife. That's a great wife. So what hobby or interest outside of work? And I know being an entrepreneur, and I know you, so I know your work ethic, but what hobby or interest could you spend hours doing outside of work?
If I was still in the physical shape to do it, I could probably just spend hours playing volleyball.
And you were a good volleyball player, right? In high school?
I was, yes.
And even after high school?
Yeah.
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 Did you play college?
I played at FCC.
Okay.
But the homebody in me never really could go anywhere.
Right.
I played into my pregnancy with my first. And that's when I sprained both ankles, and so it's fun.
Right.
Good times.
So you are introverted by nature.
Yes.
Very introverted. Maybe even more so than I am.
A little bit.
Which kind of, so I know you're stretching out of your comfort zone doing this interview, and I appreciate that, because I think it's important to spotlight local businesses in and around the Frederick area.
Thank you.
And two, your day-to-day job is in real estate.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I know from interacting with you over the last 8 to 10 years that you can be assertive.
I can.
When your clients need you.
Yes.
You go to bat for your clients basically almost like no other that I've seen before. So kudos for you for being, one, an introvert.
Thank you.
As am I. This is out of my comfort zone, although this has been 100.
You have gotten so much better at it, though, because I've listened to the early podcasts. You're a natural.
Well, it's not natural. I've grown.
You became a natural overnight.
Well, yeah, exactly. Overnight after 3 years.
Yes.
So, what is your why that drives you? I know you're stepping out of your comfort zone doing this, doing real estate, being on a podcast, opening the collaborative workspace. What's your why? What's that why inside that drives you to expand out of your comfort zone?
Well, honestly, with real estate, aside from, hustle and networking things that I have to go to, that doesn't feel outside of my comfort zone, just because it ends up being a one-on-one. It's not small talk. It's a focused conversation, and I am a problem solver by nature, so immediately I know what the goal is. I know what their problem is. We need to solve it. And I just have, it's just kind of ingrained in my personality to be somewhat of a protector. Mm-hmm. And so for friends, family, clients, it's very easy for me to go to bat and bring out my mama bear. For myself, not so much. But so for this, it's more that we have really grown to love Brunswick, and our kids do well here, and ultimately my kids are going to grow up here, and I want to do something that brings more value to them. Mm-hmm. And I've made a lot of really good relationships in working on this, and it's brought some excitement and some enthusiasm, and that's just really encouraging.
Cool. So you've been an entrepreneur, at least ever since I've known you. How long have you been in business for yourself?
2011.
Okay, so 8 years, exactly. Okay, so since 2011. So what is something that if you were talking to somebody, you have a local business owner that comes in here in your space and says, Carmella, I'm looking to open XYZ store, XYZ studio, XYZ shop, XYZ service business. What is a shortcut that you've learned over your 8 years that you could give advice to somebody else to do?
I don't know if it's a shortcut so much as it's not taking the long way. I know that I spent way more time than I needed to researching things and trying to find like the perfect solution or the exact right solution before implementing, and I would just end up with analysis paralysis and not do anything. So just kind of limit that and work on taking action. Read something, do something with it, not read 85 things and then never do anything.
You know, and everybody always says, oh, I'll do it next week, I'll do it next month, I'll do it next year. There's no perfect time.
Right.
Like, there's no perfect time for anything. That's kind of, you know, I think you're familiar with what I'm doing now with Story Architect. Like, I had to set a date.
Yes.
Like, I had to set, I'm going to start at this date. I really don't know what I'm doing, and that starts in a week and a half.
Right.
I just know that if I didn't set that date, I would just push it off another month, and then a month turns into 6 months.
Yep.
So yes, do your research and know what you're doing, but also give yourself deadlines and stick to those deadlines.
Yeah, exactly. Especially because there's just things that you're not going to know until you're doing it.
Correct.
You can't read about it in a book, which is why you were one of the first people I texted when I actually put my ribbon cutting date on a calendar. I was like, I just have to do it.
Right.
So.
And I think you know, it's important in life and being a business owner is that first time it's not going to be perfect.
No.
In anything you do, you know, you just got to get to that second and third and fourth iteration because you learn by doing.
Right.
You can read all you want, but you actually learn by doing.
Yep.
All right. So on the flip side, what is maybe something that somebody told you, or maybe it was a piece of advice that didn't work out like they said it was going to do?
I don't know. I know I'm probably overthinking it, but really the only thing, or the thing that's jumping out at me is my mom telling me to err on the side of action and me not ever listening to her.
Right. Right.
And then not even realizing until reading the 1% rule just recently how valuable that is.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I can't think of anything that somebody told me to do that didn't work out very well. Maybe that's because I don't listen well to other people.
So the 1% rule, that is taking small steps or small incremental steps and improving yourself every day. And it's basically just keeping what I refer to as a snowball effect, like keeping going, like keeping a little bit every day to get better yourself, better your life, better your health, which I'm not doing very good right now, better your family, better your business, right?
Right.
And then what the 1% rule is all about?
Yeah, well, and I will say my biggest takeaway though was not to focus on the how and to actually set the deadlines.
Right.
Because I could stay in the time that exists like to figure out the how forever.
Right.
And then nothing gets done.
Right. All right, Carmella, so what is one choice or a pivotal moment or a choice you've made in the last 3 years that's led you to where you are today?
The last 3 years. How old are my kids? 2, 4?
That's funny. So while you're thinking the answer, I had a friend of mine about 13 years ago. He was a lender here in town, and he basically said, you know, Eric, once you have kids, you relate everything to how old your kids were. Right?
It's so true.
Right?
I'm like, how old was my kid then? Okay, so now I know what you're talking about.
Right.
Yes.
So what's something that is a pivotal moment in the last 3 years that led you to where you are today?
This moment it might seem really insignificant, but actually it was right after my youngest was born. My mom actually called in her best friend, the lady that was actually my first babysitter. I mean, I cracked my head open on her coffee table, first babysitter. Anna cracked the coffee table. She called her to come clean my house because kid number 4 was born, and he was born early. And so she came over and she cleaned my house, and through these conversations we started talking, and she had helped build out Tech Corner in Tysons Corner, Virginia, which was one of the first, slightly different business model, but one of the first collaborative workspaces. And she did the pro forma for the hub in Martinsburg, and she did another pro forma for a couple in Gaithersburg and Rockville. So I feel like that simple phone call that my mom made, because I never would have called and asked for somebody to come help clean my house, of her showing up just kind of changed the course of everything.
Awesome.
Going
I think that
forward.
is significant.
It is, but it's just also so casual.
Random.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But I don't think I would have gone this direction.
Cool.
It's very cool.
We were doing good things in Brunswick.
Thank you.
All right, Carmella, so I have got to sit across the microphone from 169 other entrepreneurs. You're 170. What I really love about this is, one, we turn our phones off and we get to sit and chat for 30 minutes. So it's a one-on-one conversation. I learn about you. I learn about what you're doing. I take snippets from every interview that I do and try to incorporate in my life or my business or whatever.
Okay.
So I want to flip the script here. You know me probably better than most of the guests that I have on here.
Right.
So go ahead, ask me a question. Could be business, life, personal, whatever.
How did you get over your stage fright? Because I know that you're an introvert, and I was at that first Impact Club. Like, I don't think I could have even got up there and said a word. Even at Impact Club now, I say hi to you, and then I go hide.
Right. One, I don't know, is constantly trying to grow. I think it's, you and I both played sports growing up. I think it's kind of a competitive nature that where you're practicing something that you're not good at. So I remember, this is actually a funny story. So I remember in high school, it was my junior year, and I was starting point guard, and I had gotten benched, okay? And I went to the coach and said, Coach, why did you bench me? I thought I was doing a good job. And he said, well, Eric, look at your stats. You're 1 for 24 shooting. That's 4.5% or whatever it was. It's like, you made one shot the entire year out of the first 6 games. So he benched me. Well, I took that to heart.
Right.
And I practiced shooting. My senior year, when I left, I'm pretty sure this is accurate, I was the single season 3-point made at Frederick High.
Oh.
And I think it's since been broken since then. So I took something that I wasn't good at, took it to heart, and practiced. So, I've practiced speaking, or I have an idea. I don't sit and script everything.
Right.
I have a couple main points. Okay, so I'll have a couple main points when I go to get outside of my comfort zone that I want to talk about A, B, and C. Okay. So for the next Impact Club on February 19th, I will have 2 or 3 points that I want to get across to our audience, and I'll make sure I get those points across.
Gotcha.
And a beer before doesn't hurt either. To help loosen up.
Then I'd have to take an Uber home because I'm also a lightweight. I can't even have a half a glass of wine without needing to take an Uber.
So good question. Yeah. So just expanding and practicing. Want to expand what I'm good at, because I know what I'm good at. And I know what I'm not good at.
Gotcha.
And it's kind of fun to tackle a new challenge.
That it is. I am learning that, but standing in front of a room of people and talking still terrifies me.
All right, Carmella. So what failure or loss, and this can be personal, this can be business, this can be financial, this can be whatever, has formed the person that you are today?
I don't know if it's really failure or loss, but just growing up around someone who has substance abuse issues kind of made me become an adult sooner than other people. Someone that kind of seeks out being responsible, but someone who also really doesn't do well with people even thinking that I'm the victim. So kind of just this need to not be the victim.
Right.
And it's just really shaped a lot of my personality and the things that I go after in general. It's kind of my role, take care of business, be the responsible one,
and
make sure everything's okay. Yeah.
Take care of business and people.
That's what I do.
Yeah. I know you and I don't always see eye to eye on every issue, but I do know your intentions are always good.
Thank you.
I do know that you do care about people, and that comes across.
Just don't hug me.
No, yeah, that was funny. So Carmella, she wrote this post the other day, and it was like, just we can talk, but just don't hug me. And it was pretty funny. I think it was on Facebook, right?
Yes, it was.
She got a pretty big response. So I got here. I was like, I'm not going to hug you, Carmella, because I am a hugger.
Are you?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I'm a hugger. All right. So Carmella, where do you see yourself in 3 years and then in 10 years?
I mean, honestly, still around here. We do not plan on leaving. We are essentially putting down roots here. In a perfect world, I would have my little farmette with my chickens and my goats that my husband says I can't have, and be homeschooling my kids.
Right.
But we'll be here. You know, I don't know where the co-working space is going to go. I think it will be successful, but the direction it ends up going, I don't know. I've said from the beginning that we really need to stay fluid in our business model because it's rural. We need to meet the needs of the people that are here. It's not a big city. So just still moving forward and making an impact here, raising my kids.
Awesome. So final thoughts. Where are we? How do people watching, listening, find out, one, more about the Own It company and the collaborative workspace here in Brunswick, and then two, about your other passion, real estate and helping people. So give us how do people get a hold of you and find out more?
You can go to the website for the co-working space. It's ownitbrunswick.com. It should answer all of the questions. It has the membership plans and somewhat of our vision going forward on there. And then for real estate, it's just karisrealty.com.
Okay, awesome.
I don't have my own website.
It's okay.
I don't have business cards, except the ones Christy made me.
It's okay. Yeah, my business cards, the only time I really use them is when I go in a house for a showing. And I don't know about you, but I'll put my picture on my business card. You put your picture on your business card?
I didn't make my business card, so yes, my picture is on my business card.
Okay. Cool. All right, listeners, viewers, I hope you enjoyed Carmella's story as much as I did.
Thank you.
That's episode 170 of Frederick Advice Givers, and we are out.